The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera, and by ShootProof, the easy way to proof and sell your photos online.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina as they chat about the art and business of photography.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 124. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Curran. On last week's episode, we talked about Apple's new iMac, model sues Getty Images after seeing herself in an HIV positive ad, and holiday marketing tips to increase your bottom line. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at our website, digitalphotographycafe.com, in iTunes, listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox music apps, or watch in HD on TiVo.
Hey Joe, we're back. How you doing, my friend?
We're here. Good. How are you doing?
Doing well. Been busy this week.
That's it. We're getting close to holiday season.
Yes.
You know, there's leaves to rake for you, and
I don't even
more
want to
sunshine
talk about
for me.
I'm sitting out every day. I'm looking out the office window, and the leaves are getting
They're piling.
more and more yellow and orange, and I'm like, oh, they're going to start falling. I'm going to have a mess to clean up.
You have the big piles to go through.
That's all right. It's fun. I don't mind doing it. The kids like jumping in them and stuff, so it's good.
Yeah, we don't get that here. It's green
No.
all year long, pretty much. And
No, but you're running hurricane season now, right? You've got one blowing through this weekend, right?
yeah, we got a little something, just a little bit of something coming through this weekend, but it's nothing. You know, it's going to pass us by. We might get some kind of crazy, like, rain or something, but nothing too bad. We're good.
Excellent. Hopefully it's not the beginning of a bad season for you. So
Yeah. Well, we're getting close to the end now. I mean, if we get hurricanes now, come October or towards the end, there's usually the catastrophic ones,
right?
So hopefully we don't get anything. We should be good. We should have kind of passed through another year with nothing. That would be exceptional.
Yeah, keep your fingers crossed, man. I'll
Yeah. So good news. Facebook finally lets you edit your post, right? So when you're doing that drunk post or, or your iPhone edits something and it says one thing and all of a sudden it says something profane or now we can actually edit it, right?
Yeah. This has been a huge complaint with Facebook users for a long time, just for that. When you're working on the desktop, it's a little bit easier. You can, you've got the full keyboard, you got the mouse going, and you can backspace and you can correct things and stuff. But even then, occasionally you'll put a post out with a typo or something,
Sure.
But from the mobile phones, I mean, that's awful. I mean, you start typing a word and you fat thumb it, and all of a sudden you got something and you don't proofread it before you hit post, and it's a big mess. I mean, if it's on your personal page where it's just your friends, maybe it's not as big of a deal. But if you're posting on your business page, I mean, that's a problem. I mean, typos are definitely a reflection of you as a professional. As much as we'd like to think that it's not, it is. Yeah. And people get all weird about stuff like that, and they start, you've got a typo in here. You spelled this word wrong, and what do you mean by this? That doesn't make any sense. So,
yeah, so they're keeping a history, obviously, which is good.
Yep.
So you make a typo, you do, it is historic. It does keep that information. But I like the idea of not deleting the post and then having to repost.
It keeps more transparency there, for sure. Well, and that's a big issue because some people could do the old bait and switch deal where they put up a cute picture of a baby. Oh, hit like if you like this baby picture, and so all of a sudden everybody gets all mushy and they're all clicking like, and then somebody decides they're going to be smart and go and completely edit the post, delete the picture or whatever, and
stick in an ad or something.
And stick an ad in there or something in hopes that they're going to gain some type of viral traffic from it.
Right.
So that won't happen. Facebook won't allow that to happen, and it's keeping a history of your post edits, which is good. So
I think that one of the hardest things to do is just to find posts, right?
Yep.
And I think finally Facebook has fixed that.
Yeah. But another thing that they're rolling out is they're allowing you to search for posts of people who you're connected with, your friend circle, let's say. So you can search for specific posts, you can search for content within a post, before you could never do it.
No.
Facebook wasn't indexing that type of content, but now they're rolling it out with the graph search. So, I'm sure everybody has noticed the search bar across the top of your screen has probably changed by now. And now you're able to actually put in something, some search data and maybe start seeing some results. So this is another thing that's rolling out. Of course, they're testing it or whatever, but it should be out to the masses shortly, I would think.
You would think that this is something that would have been there since day one, and someone hearing it like, "Oh, you can search Facebook now." It's like, what you mean?
Yeah, and you couldn't before?
This is something that
No, that's exactly.
They are a database. That's all they are. They are a database, and if they can't do SQL queues, can't pull data out of that database, there's something wrong. But finally now they've made it so that you can do it, which is fantastic.
Well, that's
how many times you're
now,
looking for something and you have this big long monster, right? And you're like, I don't know where it is, and you're going page by page and page and page. Now you can just search and boom, and it pops right up. That's really cool.
It is cool. I mean, I'm sure that there was technological reasons why they weren't able to do it. They didn't want to, have the server power for it. They didn't want to, worry about the bandwidth or whatever. I'm sure that there were technological reasons behind why they never did it. I think now just enough people have been saying they want it, so they're looking at it as something that they just need to add. So.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, everything is database anyways, so the data was always there. It's accessing it, and from a technological aspect or as a sysadmin aspect, like what I am, the fear for any company is allowing people to interact with the database via a search queue of any kind, any type of search field, because those are the fields that always are notorious for being compromised. When you can actually exterior to the site, to the server, push characters into a search field, it just opens up a host of problems. So, maybe it was an issue with security.
Absolutely. It could have been a security issue, right? Maybe they had to harden the database in certain ways or put certain procedures in place to prevent these types of brute force or injection attacks and stuff. So, along with that, Twitter, has to go tit for tat here, right? And
yes.
They just updated their embedded photos in the tweets, which is really nice. I mean, normally the text part of the tweet was always the prominent part and the photo kind of was secondary. Well, now I guess they're seeing the value. Google Plus is making updates. Facebook is making updates with photos all the time. Twitter need to keep up with the Joneses and really sees the value now, I guess, of making those photos more of a prominent part of the message. So now when you look in your news feed, you'll see these photos a lot bigger and at the top, and the tweet is more like a photo caption now below it. So, which is nice. I like that, especially for us as photographers sharing our images through Twitter, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the tit for tat, though. I agree with that 100%. All of these social media networks know that photos are number one when it comes to the network. Those are the ones that get the most likes, they go viral the most than someone just writing anything. It doesn't matter what you write. You show a picture, it has a possibility, or a video, it has a possibility of going viral. So, by honing in on that, just like Google has as well as Facebook. I mean, they're if they didn't, they'd be dropping the ball. So it's good that they are.
Yeah, and speaking of photos and Facebook and everything, I want to share a quick little tip with you. I actually wrote this as an update on the Current Photographer Facebook page this past week, but I figured I'd share it with you guys on the show too. So when you guys create a blog post and you want to share it on Facebook, you start your status update, you copy and paste a link in the body copy field there in the update field. And then Facebook goes out, looks at the post, it pulls a headline, it pulls a description, and then it scans the post for images. And if it sees an image, it'll pull an image to use as a thumbnail. Traditionally, that thumbnail was small, it was off to the left, and then you would have your headline and descriptor copy to the right of it. And a lot of times, if there were multiple images on the page, you would have a left or right facing arrow that you could click through to potentially select a better thumbnail. Well, they've added a feature, and I don't know if you guys have taken notice to it or not, but underneath that thumbnail image, there's a little upload image button now. And you can actually click on that button and upload an image from your local computer. Right. So if you didn't like any of the photos that were used in the post, or maybe you had a post that was just information and there were no photos in it, you can actually add a photo to it that could potentially represent the content or what have you. But what it does is they treat it differently. If they pull the thumbnail in themselves dynamically from your post, it's small, it's to the left, the headline, descriptor copies to the right. If you do it manually, it reformats that status update and makes the photo much larger. It makes it the full width of the post, and then it puts the headline and descriptor copy below it. So it's a lot more prominent. So going back to what you're saying, people like photos, they like to share photos. That is definitely a big key in drawing attention into your blog posts.
Yeah, and they understand that if you are taking the time to select, I wish to upload from my computer, choose here, and actually select that photo, you're obviously meaning to do this. It's meaningful. It's not just a generic pulling of one of these as a thumbnail.
Right.
And they're going to give it a higher priority by making it larger, putting the description underneath. I think that's fantastic. So it's something that you guys should think about doing if you're not doing it as of yet. I think it's a great tip.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And the photos get added into your timeline albums. So again, you've got more indexing and stuff, and it's just, it helps you out better across the board. So
Right. So as, you know, an event photographer, we do weddings every once in a while. Try to do only the larger ones, you know, over the years, because, you know, weddings are just, they are not the easiest.
A lot of work, right?
A lot of work, a lot of
stress.
Work for, yeah. And if you're doing the big ones, then it's worth it because you're making the money that, you know, that you should be, let's say.
Right.
Whereas the smaller ones, it ends up, the number of, you know, the dollars for hours ends up being excessive.
Sure.
And you end up working at, you know, McDonald's money. So anyways, you know, speaking about the wedding photographers, we were reading this article, and you have a guy near you that is a wedding photographer that's making a considerable amount of money, but really not doing much for it, right?
Yeah. This is really bad news. So this actually came across on my local Channel 12 news here in New Jersey. And apparently this photographer has been scamming dozens of couples. He's been going and shooting these weddings and then never delivering the photos, never delivering the videos. They've paid in full, right? By the end of the you know, probably before it even starts, they've paid in full. So, you know, he goes, he shoots, and he doesn't deliver the final products. And he's done this and scammed these couples out of like $140,000.
Yes.
Yeah. Crazy.
That is a ton of money. So he's got like 70 felony charges levied against him. I think he just bailed out of it. You know, it's sad. And you know, we see this all the time. See, you know, I don't get it as much down here with the wedding stuff. What I see down here as a lot, you know, I do a lot of portrait work and models and actors and actresses. Is the scams for model portraits and actor portraits and whatnot. Yep. They are just continuous. And these shops just pop up, you know, and then they close up shop, and then they pop up and close up shop, and they just steal money basically. And they're giving and then they have to come back to someone like me to go and have a professional shot done that can actually get them work, whereas the other ones are like, I mean, just ridiculous, or they get nothing.
Right.
But yeah, that's the scams that we see down here in South Florida a lot, because, you know, we're close to Disney, we're close to Miami. There's a lot of acting and you know, the actors and actresses are there.
Yeah, a lot of performance things within Disney, all that type of stuff. Sure.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's
you know, all of everything down here. So
yeah, I mean, these types of scams gives us all a bad reputation. You know, I mean, people always come to, let's say always, but people will come to photographers or designers or anybody who they're paying money for a non-tangible, you know, for a service. And
they're paying first.
And they're paying first
they're
with
paying first, and then hoping
that
they
for great
get
results, right? And you know, and that's something that we always have to contend with, and that's why we have great portfolios and reviews and try and show a track record of doing great work for people. But, you know, you get guys like this, it gives everybody a bad name. And apparently this guy has been banned from shooting weddings in New York like a decade ago for doing the same damn thing. So
Yeah, so from New York, he goes over the river.
Yeah,
and now he's based out of New Jersey,
scamming the
doing
New Jersey
the same
people.
thing. Yeah, he's probably like a neighbor of yours.
Nah, I don't even want to know. I've never heard the guy. Heard of him before. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, so I think he's pretty much done.
He's done.
I mean, for now, maybe he'll move to Mass or something. He'll
move north
somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, something. So, but kind of going forward, we talked in the past about ILCs and going the whole mirrorless thing
extensively. I think.
Yes, extensively.
Probably to the point where these people our listeners don't even want to hear about it again.
And we've always said that, look, this is the way of the future. This is what's going to happen. And it just hasn't really happened yet because the sensors remain kind of small. They're not, we're getting close to, we're getting APS-C sensors, and we're like, well, to go pro, a lot of the pros, they want a full frame. So finally, right, Trev?
Yeah.
Sony steps up as, like, I guess the first one to throw down the gauntlet. And sure, damn enough, the NEX, rumor has it, will be coming out, the Sony NEX, with a full frame sensor. Big news.
Yeah,
Huge.
This is big news. A lot of websites have picked this up as a rumor. There's, definitely a lot of positive side to this, saying that these are definitely vetted rumors, facts, whatever, this, that, and the other thing. So I mean, it's October. Probably the biggest U.S. based trade show of Photo Plus Expo is coming up in a couple weeks. Everybody is gearing up their product lines and leaking things, teasing things and stuff, get the media stirring. So when we all show up at Photo Plus in a few weeks, right, we'll want to hightail it over to Sony's booth to check out these new cameras that they've got. But this is pretty cool. I mean, they're saying there's going to be two models, a less expensive, more expensive. And one's going to have a 24 megapixel full frame, and the other one's going to be a 36 megapixel full frame.
That's a ton.
I mean, if these are the same, high quality alpha full frame sensors that they're using in their DSLRs,
right?
This is going to be some serious equipment.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always been the, kind of the sticking point is, bigger sensors, and now we got it, and mirrorless. I can see this. We were, our prediction not too long ago was anywhere from a year or two for sure. Pros would be using mirrorless. Our figures, our estimation might have to be changed and push it to more 6 months to 9 months, with a year being the top end of actually pros seeing pro body, mirrorless, full frame ILCs. So
Canon and Nikon are in the works anyway. I mean, they have to be. And
if this announcement goes out like this, that Canon and Nikon for the holidays, they will release something similar. If not, they're going to miss the bus.
They're going to miss the bus, and they're all going to use this as a testing ground to see what the adoption rate is. Do people really want this? And I know, like you say, lighter, smaller, no noise, right? What's not to like? Right. If they have the same processing engines in them, the same technology in them that a mirrored DSLR has, I mean, why wouldn't you want them? There's no point to having a DSLR anymore, for the mirror functionality. We don't need it.
Many times sensor is sensor. Obviously, you got Fobian, you got CMOS or whatnot. Usually, there's many companies that use similar sensors, if not the same sensor. It's the software, it's the back end,
right.
It's the analytics. It's the ones and zeros that are being interpolated by the software is what makes it great or mediocre, the camera. So, now that we're seeing cameras with like quad core and, just crazy processing, number one, I mean, that's going to be no longer a limit. We're going to have, so I can see these small cameras being able to do it. And like you said, I've always said that noise free. We talked about it a couple, weeks ago, where, you hear this clack, 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 clack of the shutter.
Yes.
And, many rabbis and priests, they just don't want to hear that.
Nobody wants that.
No. It is as annoying as flash. That clacking.
Yeah. Nobody wants that
crazy. Either. No, well that's old school. The motor drives on the film. Yeah. But anyways, it's amazing. I am excited. Because I know one arm of mine is bigger than the other from carrying this contraption. That's like 12 pounds on some of these events, and people are like, "What is that?" And just because that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is cool. This is really cool, and it's definitely exciting. And we're going to report back to you guys because we will be at Photo Plus Expo in New York City in the next couple of weeks. So
that's right. We'll definitely
like Trevor said, we're going to be at the Sony booth.
Right.
We're going to be there with like bells on,
yes,
and see what they have to say. So
yeah, it's very cool.
But anyways, guys, before we go any further, let's go ahead and take a quick break to hear from a couple of our sponsors.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener.
As photographers, we're always trying to increase sales and profits after every event.
We shoot an event and have hundreds or even thousands of images that just sit on our hard drives.
Perhaps a better workflow would increase sales by getting those valuable images in front of the client.
That's where ShootProof comes in. At shootproof.com, you can have an online gallery for all of your clients' proofing needs.
ShootProof helps increase profits while building your brand and securing your photos without charging commission fees on sales.
ShootProof galleries display your photos beautifully while helping to streamline your workflow and automate more of your business through their intuitive studio control panel.
Once approved, photos can be directly fulfilled through ShootProof's various professional lab partners or fulfilled by you.
All ShootProof plans have the same feature set. You simply choose the number of client photos stored, decide what products to sell, and the price.
Try ShootProof today by taking advantage of their free 30-day trial offer.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, ShootProof is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans by using promo code DPC20 at checkout.
ShootProof. Upload, share, sell, print. All right, so we're back, and this article came through. We get all kinds of stuff, right? But this came through from Fox 40 TV network, and the hosts, they do this segment. It's like a pet peeve segment. I know locally here in New York, there's a station that does a shame on you. They kind of go after these different stores that are wronging people and stuff. But these are like little annoyance things that are in everyday life and stuff like that. So this one segment that they did that was kind of funny was people shooting with their cell phones and point and shoots at the weddings and blocking the shots for the photographers and videographers.
Yeah, that was an awesome video. I looked at it when you sent that over to me. I'm like, this looks very familiar to me. This looks very, very familiar. And people don't even realize that they're doing it, I don't think. And you're especially, this is notorious for videographers, because they usually set up on a stationary and they're shooting down the aisle or wherever. Then all of a sudden, it's like they're just about ready to kiss, and what happens is everyone just
jumps out
barrels
in the aisle
forward
with their cell
into
phone.
the aisle, and now you just missed the kiss. So okay, we know this is a problem.
Yeah.
Now, what do we do to fix it, right? And I think that anyone out there today that doesn't realize that this is a problem, they're a photographer, videographer, shame on you. I mean, you need to now think about it. Think about what you can do to fix the situation, to remedy it, because you have control over that situation, not these people with their cameras. What that means to me is simply this: you cannot just be at the mercy of that one camera, let's say at the end of the aisle, and expect to get the shot. You need to possibly do a GoPro or something like that and get some cameras up in locations that can't be blocked.
Right.
Because if you don't get the shot, it's shame on you.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out, because guess what? The bride and groom, they don't care. They could care less what you have to do. They're paying you $3, $4, $5 grand to do this video. They want you to get it.
You to get
if you have to if you have to run over people in the aisle to go get that first kiss, yeah, then that's what you need to do, whatever.
Right.
So, my suggestion would be in these type of situations is plan out what you need to do, how many cameras you need, and do it. And do it properly. Set these things up so that if something is blocked, which we know it's notorious, people, and what's even worse now, Trev, is before it was like the little cameras, or the iPhone, they're holding it up.
Right.
The worst now is you have a full iPad.
Yes.
And so you got like 2 iPads in front of you that are like
completely
12-inch,
blocking your view.
You can see nothing.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Exactly. You have you have an Apple thing. You can see absolutely nothing. So yeah, it's getting worse instead of better.
Well, one of the suggestions they made in this segment, and I really love the idea, and this is something that as photographers we actually could suggest and maybe have a little control over, but they called it, they're going to have an unplugged wedding.
Exactly.
So that means basically no cell phones, no iPads, no point and shoots allowed during the ceremony. And that can specifically be stated by the bride and groom saying, listen, we're paying a lot of money for our professional photographer and videographer to get these shots. And we know that you guys are really excited and you want to share in the photos too. But what we're going to do is we've made arrangements with the photographer. They're going to give us digital images. We're going to send you links so you can download them, whatever.
Absolutely.
So you don't need to photograph it yourself. You're going to have professional quality shots that you'll have access to. During the reception, that's fine, without
you
your
could
cell
do whatever
phones,
you
your point and
know,
shoots, whatever,
Absolutely, you could do anything you want during the reception.
Right.
The only thing that I would suggest is on like a father-daughter dance or anything that's very, very important. I would have the DJ simply say, listen, there's a photographer and videographer there for a reason. Please do not get in the way of their shot. And just simply saying that is enough to deter someone to...
There's still going to be people that get up there,
but then there'll definitely be that guy or that girl, and they'll look kind of be frowned upon a little bit because it's just, you look ridiculous at that point if you're jumping in there. So, but yeah, I love that. An unplugged and a plugged portion of a wedding or any type of I think that's a great
there's going to
idea.
be family and friends who get ticked off because they're being told by this hired help that I can't shoot with my cell phone. Well, who are you to tell me? You're going to get that. But you know what? That's why the bride and groom have to make the statement. Maybe it's even, a little note inside the invitations when they go out or something like that. I don't know.
Things are getting to be so wired or wiredless, I guess you could say, where you can very easily, as a photographer, set this up, okay, simply just like this. People want these images for what? What do they want to do with them? They want to post them on Facebook like immediately, because people have like this problem. They need a 12-step. But anyway, it's, so they want to, okay. So now maybe you can get everyone a small resized picture that they can go and share. So maybe you can set something up whereas it's maybe it's through Wi-Fi and it immediately force feeds it over so that maybe you have a server that's set up locally where some of the images that are resized can be actually sitting there on a free open access and they can download them and then share them immediately. There's a lot of kind of like things that you can think about on how to correct the situation, but also how to make you look like super pro. Let's say super pro, like the current, media savvy
technology and
amazing. He's like my photographer. He even has like a open Wi-Fi network, right outside of the, right in the church or outside the church where you can go download like all of these, and then you can actually have your assistant just uploading onto your server. And the server could be, an $80, $100 Linux box like we talked about in the past about something very simply simple. That the bottom line is you are now innovative. Yep. Number one, you're capturing the shot because you did the GoPros, you did whatever to get the shot, number one. Number two, you thought out of the box to get them to get the pictures that they really want, but now you give them to them, maybe with your copyright on them.
Sure, that's right.
More marketing.
We've got all of this wireless sharing now, and you're right. I mean, you could have the assistant with the laptop, take a couple pictures, upload them to your Facebook page, and then tell everybody, hey, go over to our Facebook page and you can share the photo from there.
Share them there. Absolutely.
And it's great promotion for you. You're cutting edge, blah, blah, blah. It's all good. I mean, that's it. Thinking outside of the box. Don't let the technology inhibit you. Figure out how you can use it to your advantage.
Absolutely. And how to stop it from being used when you need to stop it.
That's right.
So, that's right. That's the next thing. So, kind of moving forward, right?
Yeah, we got Adobe in the news yet again. This was like a big thing. Just came out yesterday, in fact, just before we're recording this. And Adobe Creative Cloud got hacked.
That's very hard to believe that there's a problem with Adobe.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So
again, back to the Adobe batching. I know we're probably be called out on it again, but
sorry,
but
guys.
it's news,
yeah,
right?
We get called out every once in a while, but you know what?
Got to let you guys know about this stuff.
If the pair of shoes fit, put them on. And these shoes seem to be fitting every single week. There's something that they're doing is just like nuts. It's like, what is going on over there?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're saying approximately 2.8 million of us, me included, our Adobe customer IDs along with our customer name, encrypted. This is important. Encrypted charge cards, debit cards, expiration dates, and all the rest of the information that we've put in there have been compromised.
Right.
They don't know how much of an extent, but they know that amount and that number of people, this data has been compromised. They don't know if the cipher or the keys of this encrypted data have been taken also. They really don't know.
Right.
I tell you what, if you have the knowledge to be able to take the data, you simply, you don't have, it's not
a far stretch to think that they know how to crack the data.
They can crack, an MD5, some type of cipher. They can figure it out. So pretty much, their statement is, we deeply regret that this incident occurred. Have we heard this? Yeah. So we're working diligently, and on and on. So it's, it's one of these things that, wow, now it's another thing and another thing and another thing. And I got an email and they said, oh, we're going to send out emails to anyone that's affected. Of course, I get the email. I love that.
Yep.
And, sure enough, in the email, it just simply says, we recently discovered that attackers illegally entered our network. The attackers may have obtained access to your, Adobe ID, the whole long spiel. We think that it would behoove you to go to this URL. And the URL, so if you guys don't want to look it up, if you're just listening, if you go to adobe.com/go/password reset. Once again, it's adobe.com/go/password reset. It'll allow you to reset your password and change any data in your Adobe ID or your Adobe account.
Right.
And there's 2.8 million of us out there that need to do this. Also, if you guys use the same password that you use with Adobe on, let's say Facebook or somewhere else, they encourage you to change it.
Yeah.
So, this is the kind of stuff that comes out. And now, of course, I did just before we got before we went live here. I went and changed everything.
Yep.
And, the system is working. It's not like gone down like the government computer. The government computers now where, they're going down because people are trying to sign up for healthcare and they can't because they're
just killing the system.
Self-imploded. Yeah. So Adobe's computers are up and you can change your password. But, once again, Trev, I don't know. All, credit cards, debit cards, expiration dates, your address, phone number, city, state, zip code, all of the data that they have is all gone. It's gone.
Now, you know what? None of us are immune from this. I mean, any website out there is vulnerable to hacks. Amazon has been hacked before. Google's been hacked before. Any of Facebook has been hacked lots of times.
Sure.
Twitter's hacked daily. This happens all the time. All you can do is take measures to protect yourself. But what I will say is that if you are doing some form of e-commerce on your own website, you're selling prints, you're taking orders for, proofs or what have you, that you keep that credit card processing off your server. That way you don't have the liability for that credit card information. Use Stripe, use Go to Checkout, use PayPal, use
Square,
use Square. Square for manually swiping or whatever. But use a third-party system that's off of your site. That way, the most you're going to be liable for is their basic information, their name, address, phone number, and email address, which is important. But it's less critical than credit card information for sure.
Yeah. It's a major problem. It is. It's a big problem, and I don't think it's going to be solved anytime soon. But
No,
just like you
it
said, there
evolves.
needs to be measures. Yeah, there needs to be measures put into place by the big companies to keep us safe.
That's right.
And and I think the bigger the company is, the more responsibility they should have.
Right, and the more vulnerable
their-
they are because you've got all
Absolutely.
the hackers around the world trying to breach them. So,
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
No problem.
So, anyways, we need to get out of here.
yes, we are done. So, Joe, if people want to connect with you outside of the show, what's the best way for them to reach you?
You can find me on Twitter, and that's at Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H.
Yes, and you can connect with me on Twitter, and it's at Trevor Current.
Awesome. All right, guys, we are done. Another show in the can. You can get all of the show notes from this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/124. And don't forget to send your questions and comments to comments@digitalphotographycafe.com or simply call 440-345-6707. Once again, that's 440-345-6707. And we will see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Be sure to subscribe to the show for free in iTunes or through RSS. You can also listen on Stitcher and TuneIn Radio and watch in HD on TiVo. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.